I'm not gonna lie, there is a lot of ignorance, psychotic stuff that goes on in this anime, but it is pretty damn good. So we finna get into it.
To say Baki is the physical embodiment of ignorance would be an understatement. This show has weaponized the concept of schizophrenia into a power system.
Oh, he's saying it's an understatement. Yeah, these fools damn right crazy, bro. Have you seen a damn who it was? It the Russian man. The Russian man scaling like a 200-mile wall to get up out of there and then swim in the ocean. Another 200 miles.
So much so to the
to
point
go fight
that
somebody
one
is crazy.
their opponent better just wins the fight. And on top of all that nonsense, why is there so much pee?
Oh yeah, that was wild. 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 That was wild, bro.
The way Baki's narrator is capable of making me believe absolutely anything needs to be studied. Like there was one time Baki was fighting a real life chimera ant, and the narrator would be like, yes, Baki is using a well-known technique called shadow boxing. No, he's not. He's taking real life damage. Ref, do something. That's enough, yep.
No, this man is he was really deranged and crazy, but he was dedicated to his craft of whooping niggas' asses.
Let's get straight into the meat and potatoes. But before we can get into the meat and potatoes, I gotta give a huge thank you to the homies over at Opera GX for sponsoring today's video. When it comes to browsers, you guys know I'm a certified unk. I was convinced.
No. We're gonna skip up, cuz. Well, we don't need no browse or nothing. Alright, stay right here with it.
And Baki technically ended up beating Pickle. And after managing to also beat Oliver Biscuit in the previous season, the people are slowly starting to realize that Baki might actually be able to stand against Yujiro. They end up showing us what each person has been up to since fighting Lore Accurate Tsukasa. And after scanning Baki's brain, they come to the conclusion that his cerebrum literally resembles Shaitan. And that this could be the reason for Baki's strength. We then cut over to Baki's girl getting a flashback from Muhammad Ali Jr. And she was all up on him, hugging him for so long.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, that's crazy work, bruh. And then it's like this. You know what? We gonna keep it on, cause I'll go on a tangent about that whole Baki and freaking Muhammad Ali's son and her. It's crazy.
Her clothes got drenched in his tears. Like, this is nasty. Look at the way it's dripping. This got to be at least 600 bodies. If I was Muhammad Ali Jr., I would have sued for defamation of character. After that, we end up cutting over to my goat Sea King Ryatsu. He was known for being able to run on water and literally summoned his own stand in his fight against Pickle. He did end up losing his leg. So what do you think this shonen protagonist goes and does?
Hit him with that JoJo
of his life? Is it A, start fighting ancient aliens? Is it B, retire and go back to China? Or possibly C, become a Marvel rival streamer? Or maybe even D, become a boxer? If you guys become a boxer, you are correct. Because tell me why this JoJo's character decided to dedicate the rest of his entire arc to climbing his way up the boxing rankings whilst being assisted by Genji Kamagawa and a pimp named Slickback. And the craziest part about all of this is that he's actually losing some of these fights. You know, Baki is really a nonsensical show. When I get perplexed by characters picking somewhat normal career paths, this is like when Yamcha decided he was going to become a pro baseball player. Yeah. This is not fair. Look at the way he did Devin Haney, turned his humorous into
absolutely crazy work. You know you're OP, bro.
The jollof rice. Imagine dedicating your entire life to becoming a pro boxer and now your career is over because they made you spar prime Mr. Miyagi. I'd be sick. After that Family Guy cutaway segment, we spin over to Baki. He's talking with the closest thing he's had to like a father figure, and we end up finding out some more lore about why Baki and Yujiro have such generational beef. 5 years ago, young Baki had his first fight with his dad, and it's safe to say he got laid out. Turns out Baki's mother was actually married to this rich Japanese businessman, and her life was basically set up perfectly. But one day, she came face to face with Yujiro Hanma and watched him decimate his opponent. Like I'm pretty sure this guy is dead. And this yandere freak actually got turned on by that, which basically caused her to willingly leave her life of luxury and go to get busy with Yujiro. I mean, I say willingly, but this man Yujiro.
God damn! Hold on, bro. How hard was he hugging her? Hold on. Go back.
That to willingly leave her life.
All right.
Of luxury.
I'm about to say, I knew I wasn't tripping. That was hug. You know what I'm saying? You finna scratch the
This
demon
day
back.
with Yujiro. I mean, I say willingly, but this man Yujiro broke into her hotel, packed up everyone including her husband, and then told her she's going to give birth to his child. I know, it doesn't get much better, and I'm pretty sure I'm missing out a bunch of other crucial details too. After birthing Baki, she basically trained him up to be the next Captain America, giving him all the necessary facilities to one day be strong enough to fight his dad, and she did all this because she thought it would make Yujiro love her, but she
I mean, she is kind of bad though. I mean, alright.
wasn't really familiar with Yujiro's game. I'm pretty sure this is like the second or maybe even the third time he's pulled some nonsense like this, just spreading his genes all over the place, moving like Genghis Khan. Despite all he went through, Baki still loves his mother, because when his pops was about to end him off, his mother stepped in defending Baki and even landing an overhand right on the ogre. But you know, this is Yujiro. Male, female, old, young. What did Batman say
Yeah, he don't give it down. He want all the smoke, bro. Your ass is going down.
again? The hammer of justice is unisex, because Yujiro begins squeezing her to death. And is she enjoying it? Man,
For sure.
women on Twitter will say old school relationships were way more romantic than today. Just for the average husband in the 1900s to turn into a prime Yujiro if dinner wasn't ready after they came back from their 9 to 5.
I was raised in a broken and abusive household. Bitch, this chicken is cold. When I turned 17, I ran away to Hong Kong, where I met Triad boss Kenny Wu, my first love. Bitch, this chicken is cold.
So now you're up to date with the law. I'd say Baki is pretty justified to hate Yujiro, but even despite this, on some fourth in timing, Baki doesn't
Oh my
actually
God.
despise his father. We now cut over to Yujiro, and they spend the next 2 episodes hyping up his strength even more than they already did. First off, we get to see Oliver Biscuit go up against Yujiro, because Yujiro basically thinks he's gone soft after he lost the ones to Baki.
He
Oliver
gone soft,
tees
yeah.
up and throws an
Come on
overhand
now.
straight from Jahannam, but
Isn't that
Yujiro
what that nigga
punches
said,
Bro so
bro?
hard the gloves engulfed his face, sending him flying. He practically no-diffed one of the top 5 strongest characters in the verse. Oliver spins back and tries to make it a contest of strength, but Yujiro just lil bros my goat. This is like when they bring back the main antagonist from a previous arc just to use him as like a
Yeah,
power
it got
gap. We
nerfed.
cut over to that one old guy from Inazuma 11, and he begins to bribe the Prime Minister of Japan just to ensure that Baki and Yujiro can win the fair ones without any interference. And you're probably thinking, yeah, you know, they're pretty strong, but surely they can't be stronger than an entire country. Incorrect. Yujiro's threat level is so high that over 100 countries have entered a treaty of friendship with him, including the United States during the Obama administration and during the Bush administration. It's only a matter of fact until bro visits Donald Trump. And I know, you're probably thinking, come on Senshi, this one man surely doesn't have an actual peace treaty with the US of A. The same USA that put tariffs on my day one homie King Julian over in Madagascar. The same USA where eggs cost the same as a Nintendo Switch 2 game. The same USA that decides to bomb countries in WhatsApp conversations. That USA? Yes. Because in the very next scene, Barack Obama flies to Japan and meets with the most powerful people from the world to discuss the World War III level event that could ensue if Baki and Yujiro were to fight. And you know, say what you will about dubbed anime, but Baki absolutely nailed the dubbed voice of Obama here.
I understand. He's that Superboy who kidnapped President Boss, isn't that right?
Yujiro pulls up to this meeting after taking out the entire security and basically tells the most important people in the world to not get involved in his fight between him and his son. And look at Obama, got him out here looking like Adam Warlock. Don't be rash. We got over to Baki, and this is where he begins to become straight up schizophrenic. Completely unrelated though. Why is this Sam Sulek lookalike dressed as Steve from Minecraft? He begins yapping
He
to
so do
himself
like-
in a
look
completely
like Sam
empty room,
Sulek, though.
as slowly but surely an image of his dad begins to form in front of him to the point that his girlfriend is actually convinced he's cheating on him. Now, I've spoken to myself plenty of times, you know, like when you're so locked in and deep in the zone, you know, in that monk mode, it's not uncommon to do so. But where I
Yeah.
really started to lose it is when Baki was in his training room. Mind you, this is the same
That's why I said in this scene where he fight that damn praying mantis, like I said, he was locked in to the point. Even when he was getting hit, blood was spilling out of him. But the kid on the back end was looking at him like, this nigga ain't got no blood on him. But to Baki, this nigga bleeding like hell on the verge of dying.
training room where he fought pre-transformation
Sometimes you gotta
Cell.
be that locked
he
in.
begins to converse with a roach. Like he is no joke idolizing and showing sincere gratitude to this roach, a cockroach, for teaching him a brand new technique that allows him to utilize the flash step by turning his body into fufu. And I'm not gonna lie, the flash step is tough. Don't get me wrong. But come on,
Yeah,
you
that
need to
shit
tell me
was
this
tough.
guy isn't going insane?
That
Look at the way
animation was
bro's
crazy,
bowing to it. This is the level of delusion people must think I have when I tell them that I wholeheartedly believe any man can beat any dog. I don't care if you show me a kangaroo or a Mastiff or Scooby-Doo. I got me in
big-ass
5.
dog, bro.
Like, I'm putting it in 7 positions for 70 minutes, life or death. There is no way I'm losing to a dog. The dog better be worried about losing to me. People out here thinking these dogs are Cerberus from Hades. I'll let it be known right now. Any dog, I'm walking out looking like frag. Let me know in the comments if you think you're beating a dog or if I'm tripping. Alright, that's enough yapping. Let the squabble commence. After Barky has been...
I mean, shit, if you grab a dog by his neck and you just sprawl down and you just keep squeezing, oh yeah, snap it. Clean win.
trying to rage bait Yujiro for the past 3 encounters, Yujiro invites Barky for dinner, and Barky pulls up dressed as Daquan in 2018. And you know, I always knew Yujiro was a deadbeat, but I didn't know he was rich. These guys are dining in the top floor of the Burj Khalifa, whole time Barky lives in the slums of O Block. Yujiro out here moving like Anthony Edwards. Look at the way he stepped out, dripped to the bone in a Louis Vuitton suit.
Damn.
They start eating and it's kind of wholesome.
Nigga do
Yujiro
be
is teaching
clean,
Barky how to use the cutlery, and it seems like a genuine father-son moment. But we all know that wasn't going to last long, because after the dessert, Barky straight up asks his dad why he killed his mother, and this must have been the final straw of rage bait for Yujiro. They legit turn into the meme. Barky and Yujiro are squaring up, releasing their aura to the point that the entire building begins to shake. That's when Yujiro turns Barky into a Beyblade, sending him flying. He then releases his Nen before speed blitzing him and smacking his ass so hard he gets flung through the window. Then he tries to hit his hand before Spartan kicking him into the next room. This was just for asking a normal question. Imagine what would have happened if Barky failed a math test. Yujiro proceeds to pick him up by the face and presses him up against the glass before jumping from the top rope like Broly, Batista bombing his own son into a 2009 Chrysler. And then the narrator just comes in like Robo Senku, trying to gaslight me into thinking this is remotely possible for regular humans. Barky asks for a hand up before pimp slapping his dad, but Yujiro just stands there, unfazed.
Yeah, they was just making this shit seem like that was just playful, fun shit. No, nigga, that is murder being committed.
Returning the favor, sending Barky flying out of bounds like a brawlhalla stage out. Barky continues to try and land a hit on Yujiro, but he's full countering everything. Yujiro makes right there, that's just play fight. Iconic whip strike from part 1 and begins loosening his muscles before smacking Barky like Prime Luffy. I know that hurts. This is how it feels to go up against Mr. Fantastic after the season 2 buffs. Barky decides to return the favor, and I thought he finally landed the first blow just for the next frame to pad over to Yujiro. He looks like he's clenching his butt cheeks, trying to hold in the pain. Barky takes on a fighting pose looking like Marshiba from Ippo before he tries to close the distance just to get full countered again. Yujiro genuinely seems upset with the fact that Barky isn't trying and basically just tells him to lock in. That's when he finally adopts the technique his sensei taught him, slowly turning his body into okra soup, then launching himself at the speed of a life-size cockroach towards his pops, breaking the sound barrier, spearing him. But Yujiro manages to stop it, so Barky steps back and hits him with an Iron Fist combo, sending him flying through like 7 bathroom stalls. And they continue to squabble like Yuji and Choso, but this is Yujiro Hanma. He picks up Barky and pile drives him through straight concrete, and as they step outside, they see a giant crowd of people who have gathered to watch this squabble. To make a long story short, imagine you're in high school and the 2 strongest kids from 2 nearby schools were about to throw down, and each side is like come together to watch it happen.
Oh yeah, for sure. Everybody is coming to see that fight, bro. Everybody, bro.
Here, all people from different races, religions, and regions came together to watch this father-son fight. Yujiro asks Barky to run it on another day because there are too many people, and Barky basically calls him a pussy because he's scared of being laid out in front of all these people. He wasted no time using his cockroach technique, landing a filthy 3-piece combo on Yujiro, and it was so fast that the average human was unable to even realize what had happened. All they saw was the aftermath of Yujiro Hanma's nose bleeding. I'm genuinely not even sure that we've seen this guy bleed in the entire series. Barky might actually stand a chance. He charges up another ult. Cockroach breathing. Second form. Asmongold strike. Just for Yujiro to eat it and land a Yusuke overhand right from Spirit World. Look at that form, and oh nah. If someone takes a pic of me after I get sent flying through the air like Carti, I'm pulling a Charleston White.
Listen, if a nigga knock me out and I wake up and they got them phones out, I won't shoot the people with the phone. Because they gonna cause more damage than the nigga that knock me out.
Barky gets up and they start going hit for hit. I'm talking blow for blow. It really looks like they are enjoying themselves. They pull guard and turns out the gold pickle is watching from the skies like Crollo as Barky decides to take up his Triceratops pose, leaving Yujiro perplexed. And as we know by now, anything these guys imagine actually comes to life because the bystanders claim they can see this prehistoric creature. Baki lunges in with his Triceratops fist attack, and Yujiro gets pushed all the way back, destroying a minivan in the process. He then gets up like, that was decent, as he creates his own fist technique like Akashi Hatake and whips out the demon back, damn near going Super Saiyan. He lets out 3 whole ass literal ki blasts. Like to this day, we have not gotten an explanation for this.
DBZ.
You know why am I even questioning it? This is Baki. Anything goes. Baki calls the technique Mickey because it did no damage. They start walking towards each other, but Baki is really a speed demon because he uses the 0.1 second time skip punch from hit just for this light-skinned Ashton Hall level Orofarmer to catch himself at the very last minute. Yujiro says he's pleased about how Baki is the first person to drop him like that in decades, so he grabs him and then proceeds to say let it rip before turning him into a Beyblade and following it up with a Sanji up special and then combo extending into a knee straight into a gut check. Damn! And as it seems like it's about to end, Pickle pulls up trying to get a piece of the squabble, but everyone knows you should never interfere with a fair squabble, so Baki knocks out.
Yeah, I don't, bruh. That's one thing I don't get about Pickle, bruh. Use your damn prehistoric brain. I know it's, in development, because you've been frozen for so damn long, but look at the scene, analyze it, and carry on.
His tooth, uses real-life Conqueror's Haki, and puts Tarzan in timeout like a good boy. Baki and Yujiro get back to boxing, and Yujiro returns the favor, folding Baki like a lawn chair, and this man was seriously about to curb stomp his own son. Look at the form. I wanna be kung fu fighting. Baki dodges and they enter yet another stalemate. They both decide to put their hands in their pockets and wait for the other person to make their move, similar to like a Wild West shootout. But Yujiro uses the ancient parenting technique of counting down to 5, using mental warfare on Baki. So he begins to count down, and as he gets to 1, Baki tries to pull out his hands to counter his father, but Yujiro still manages to land the first blow, just for Baki to pull out some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu counter technique, putting Yujiro in a reverse armbar. Look at his arm, out here looking like one big veiny dick. And instead of just snapping his arm, Baki starts talking crazy. Why would you antagonize a 7'9", 500-pound demon with more testosterone than David Goggins and Chris Bumstead combined? Yujiro pulls up his right arm and...
Alright, I got all the way to the end of this video and I just realized that I had inefficient storage. So I'm going back to the part where it stopped and I'm just going to let it play for y'all.
Pulls up his right arm and palm strikes the concrete, shattering the ground beneath them, allowing him to escape. If I put someone in
but I'm not gonna lie, that was a good ass counter.
I'm quitting the fight, and Baki must agree with me because bro peed his pants. Yujiro continues the full court press and hits Baki with a flying dragon fist and clears the quick time event, following up with a Dempsey roll finisher, continuing his barrage of punches. Baki still manages to get up as his own demon back finally gets exposed, but just when I thought he reached the peak of tomfoolery, a shadow beast emerges behind Baki as Yujiro utters the words, Dad. What? Yujiro Hanma's dad, Yujiro Hanma, has manifested in...
Yeah, no, that's one thing before the video messed up. Yeah, I did speak about this. I was like, that was very crazy how a damn spiritual pressure of his dad and grandpa came up out of nowhere, bro.
To violate his own son for struggling to beat his grandson. What in the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is even happening? I cannot give you one logical reason as to why bro would just randomly show up. Who summoned him? And of course, the narrator just comes in and gives us a backstory to let everyone know that this guy is a Hall of Fame menace to the nation. To catch you guys up, we gotta go back to the Battle of Okinawa during World War II in 1945. The US tried to invade this island of Okinawa for 6 months straight, but there was this one island so small it wasn't even like on any maps. You could compare it to like God Valley of One Piece. The US military threw over 1,000 tons of explosions onto this island. You're probably thinking, who the hell was on this island? Conquest? But no, all that was used for a single person.
You know what? That's crazy. That's crazy. Because it's always an island that an anime has to destroy. Solo 11 did it. Hunter x Hunter did it. And now Baki did it. So who really inspired this?
Yujiro Hanma. And the craziest part is
they went over there just to kill one man.
To see whether it was clear, this soldier of Shaitan was unscathed before he single-handedly squad wiped the entire squadron, which granted him the title of the first man to defeat America. Now, turns out he actually had this special technique called dress, and of course he passed it down to Yujiro. So Yujiro is so kind to give us a live demonstration of this technique. He foot swabs Baki, putting him in a reverse full Nelson before he starts flinging him around.
Yeah,
like
flinging him like
nunchucks.
nunchucks.
Yes, this
Yes,
man
and that was the most disrespectful thing that he ever did. Like brother, put your son down.
Yujiro
Why are
was
you
whipping
flinging
around
him
a
like
200-pound
nunchucks?
Baki like a piece of string cheese.
Crazy
this is the
work,
same
bro.
nonsense Luffy was doing to Kaido after going into Gear 5.
And he been disrespected the whole fight, and then you got a nerve to do that, bro?
But he doesn't just stop there. He begins to use Baki's body and starts smacking it against the car. And during all this, Baki is conscious
Crazy
as
work.
he claims to be completely fine. I'm convinced this man has real life durability negation. He steps back, giving Yujiro straight toes to the jaw, overhand right to the face, shin bone to the throat, Spartan kick to the ball. Damn, what a combo. Yujiro continues like an inner monologue and continues to yap away, explaining how he became so strong. He started getting bored
like,
because of the lack
I'm
of
bored.
challenge. This is basically what we call the One Punch Man syndrome. But before he can finish his speech, Baki hits him with the Arlong axe kick.
You so bored fighting somebody, and you thinking about what you gotta buy from the store, what type of laundry you gotta wash and shit. Like, it's crazy
Almost
work.
completely laying him out. This match has been one giant game of ping pong. They just keep knocking each other down. That's when Baki's girlfriend comes in and starts saying what we are all thinking. Stop the yapping and just box. They throw like one set of combos and begin talking about the lore of Kung Fu Panda 2 and how it like helped them elevate to a higher level. Just box. They get back to boxing and they continue to use every single technique that they've learned throughout the series, and I can't help to get hyped seeing Baki actually going toe to toe with his pops. He tried using the same pile driver Yujiro used on him earlier, but he gets up and claps Baki's head, popping both his eardrums. And that's when we cut over to these random archaeologists discovering some 10,000-year-old
that's crazy.
hieroglyphics that quite literally showcase a devil with the same demon back as Yujiro about to
Yep, predicting the future. Yujiro Hanma and Baki Hanma going
fight a
crazy.
smaller devil
What a
who
crowd.
also possesses the demon back with a bunch of
Right
random
around
people surrounding them, cheering them on. They are basically saying that the Baki versus Yujiro fight has been prophesized since the beginning of time. What in the Naruto versus Sasuke levels of bullshit is this, bro? They are legit. They really told us this load of barnacles and expected us to eat it up? Because I absolutely will. If anything, this is older level foreshadowing, peak writing. We get back to the squabble and they both willingly decided that they are going to duke it out. No defense as they go blow for blow to see who remains standing the longest. This is what I like to
Yep,
see, an
just
ignorant display of
throwing
violence.
hands.
Baki is landing a 50-hit sparking zero combo, but that's when Yujiro grabs Baki and hugs him damn near unconscious, the same way he
Just
did
like his mama.
And then we just find out that Yujiro has the ability to see injuries of people as he begins like listing all of Baki's injuries. Fractured mandible, mental tubercle bone,
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, bro. Them niggas have precise X-ray vision without the machine.
fractured, orbital bone fractured, nasal
Seeing all the
collapsed,
broken bones
teeth
and
damaged
stuff is
beyond
crazy.
repair,
With
both
standard
eardrums
eye?
burst, vertebrae fractured,
Crazy.
internal bleeding throughout the body, and internal organ failure. What the act?
Yeah. So it is like they probably was from the Hyuga clan. You know what I'm saying? Because they can see chakra, they can see bone structure.
Actual hell. I was convinced
Muscle
this was
density.
it. Surely they are done.
Crazy.
But this is Baki. On his Rock-Lee timing, gets up whilst being unable to hear and manifests his fighting spirit into physical form to continue running the ones of Yujiro. And this is where the iconic scene begins, as Yujiro goes into pure schizo mode and begins chefing up a 5-star meal out of thin air,
Yeah, that's
finally
crazy.
cooking for Baki as he always wanted to. This scene gets me every time. When I was broke, I actually tried to learn this method. I'd watch YouTube videos of people eating.
But I ain't gonna lie though, if you do learn that technique of cooking or whatever, yeah, bro, like your monthly, yearly expenses would be absolutely nothing. You know what I'm saying? Except for when you go to restaurants and stuff, then you actually have to order something physical because you don't want to be there making your own shit at an empty table. And then people like looking at it like, bro, is this nigga crazy?
certain foods and imagine myself eating it. This would probably make me a top tier in the Bakiverse alone. And after they finish their eats, Yujiro finally admits defeat and gives Baki his flowers after crowning him as the new strongest in the world. But sadly, because Baki's eardrums are popped, he didn't even get to realize that he was crowned the winner and ended up admitting defeat to his father. Beautiful. This is absolute cinema, absolutely sensational.
Yeah,
If I
that
had to
was
describe
poetic,
Baki
though.
for what it is, I'd say it's like a cross mix between JoJo's Bizarre Adventures and the Boondocks. The ability to draw in real life people and events and then like mixing them up with fantasy and a level of nonsense and zestiness is something that just hits.
But we all know, bro, Baki will never beat Yujiro Hanma, bro. It's never gonna happen, bro. The whole time they were boxing and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Baki trying his hardest to whip his ass, but it's not
The
working.
spot after you watch a heavy show like Tokyo Ghoul or Attack on Titan. It perfectly executes what it wants to do. Hey, appreciate you guys for sticking to the end. Again, huge shout out to the man them over at Opera GX for supporting your boy. Make sure you download Opera GX from the link in my description. Don't forget
Okay. Well, hold on.
to
Get off the
subscribe.
screen
More
fight.
videos and more uploads coming soon. I'm 100%.
All right. I mean, YMF Melly, that's even more crazy. But hey, besides them being schizophrenic and all that, each fighter was locked into their purpose of overcoming each other, you know what I'm saying? So overall, I'm not gonna lie, you know what I'm saying, hands down, this is a good grappler fighting anime now. Like I said, they kind of crazy and deranged, but when they get down, you know what I'm saying? And even when bones are being broke, they still getting down, bruh. Come on now, teeth and all, bruh. But hey man, it's your boy Rep. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you smash that like button for your boy and more to come to the channel. And I'll see you in the next one.